Hey guys, it's Jason and Brittany here with the Real LLC, Lake Life and Culture, and we've got a really special guest today. If you're buying a home, if you want to save money in insurance, if you want your home inspected, this is the guy. Darrell Turner here. Tell us about what you do and what makes you special in Lake County.
Hi, I'm Darrell with Florida Building Inspectors. We are your local veteran-owned home inspection company. We can take care of your insurance inspections for you. We can inspect a brand new build home for you, or we can inspect that 100-year-old home that you're buying and just love and want to turn into a Airbnb.
Man, this is super important right now with home inspections. I see it all the time with new homeowners that buy a home that have all these problems after they buy the home that they're not aware of. And then also we're seeing people with this huge increase in their insurance. And this is a way to combat that. This is someone you can come out to your house, do a 4-point inspection, do a wind mitigation, get all that stuff done so you can start saving on your insurance. And I believe that's a 5-year period that you can save on it, which is a big savings over time. So if your rates are going up, this is going to be the guy to call.
So the 5-year, it's actually changed. I had a call from an insurance company that we did an inspection on a property 2 years ago, and the wind mitigation and the 4-point that they had, it was no good because it wasn't updated. It was a couple of years old. So, the insurance has changed to where they want it more frequently, which in the beginning when I first started, probably 5% of our business came from insurance. Today, I had the office run the numbers. It's right at 47 to 51%, just depending on any given month. Mm-hmm. So, it's drastically changed.
Yeah, we're seeing that in the roofing industry also. Like a lot of the work that we're doing is because of the insurance, and it kind of puts the homeowner in a bad place. But if you've got your home inspected, it can start saving you money on those high rates that you're paying.
Not only saves you money on that, but if you're going to buy a house, you're definitely going to save yourself a lot of trouble if you have an inspection.
Absolutely.
What are some common things that you find when you're inspecting these homes?
Well, we typically start on the outside. I'm kind of walking through an inspection in my mind. So, we look outside, stucco homes, there's a lot of cracks. People that are coming from up north, they see a crack in their house, are like, oh my God. First thing they think is, sinkhole? No, and I explained to them that basically we live on a big sandbar, so any movement in that soil, anything cementous is going to move, and you get small cracks in your home. So that's normal, and I let them know that and kind of put them at ease. We try not to be an alarmist, and honestly, if we did think there was a sinkhole, we wouldn't be, raising Cain about it. It would not be something that we're like, oh my God, I wouldn't buy this house. We would just inform you, let you know, and you make your own decision. Then, we go around the house and we go up on the roof. On the roof, we're looking for soft spots. We're looking for repairs. We're looking for missing shingles, any type of curling, blistering, anything that is going to affect the lifespan of the roof or cause damage on the inside soon down the road. So we know that insurance they want at least 5 years life on a roof. The way that we determine that is, now keep in mind, I'm not a professional roofer like you, Jason. So what we do is we look from the top side, see if there's any issues going on. If there is, we make note of what area. Then when we go into the attic, we make our way over to that area and see if there's any type of water damage coming through, because water damage is the biggest issue that we face in Florida. That is huge. So if you don't have a good envelope that's watertight, it's going to be messy for you and expensive.
Yeah, one of the things about the roof that I don't think homeowners understand is you can't always access every area. You can't always see everything wrong with the roof because some of the underlying problems are underneath the shingles or in the flashing that's covered by the siding. So you're going to only be able to do so much on that. And the homeowner really is the one that, say in a year from now, all of a sudden they have a leak and, hey, you didn't see that. And we get the same thing. But sometimes you can't see some of these underlying issues or you can't access that part of the attic. But what we look for is like, we can tell if the roof was put on in a good manner, and that starts to give you the information that you need if it's a good roof. So you can kind of predict whether it's going to be a good roof or not by some of the small details that weren't done or were done. And so then you're going to be able to say, all right, well, I'm pretty sure that the flashing is good because of what part I can see. But it's so hard to inspect a roof to see what could come in the future with that roof. And I don't think homeowners understand that.
Oh, I'm glad you said that. And you're exactly right. I try to, in a diplomatic way, let people know we don't have a crystal ball. Mm-hmm. We do not know what's going to happen in the future. We're taking a snapshot of the property right now so that we can see what we see and kind of guide you from there. Now, I've had inspections where 6 months later, the homeowner will call me and say, hey, my air conditioner quit working. I'm like, okay, well, what are you going to do about it? Nothing. Well, you know, we don't have a crystal ball. We tell you the age of it and, you know, if it works or doesn't work at the time of inspection. And people they're kind of confused as to what a home inspector does. They think we're going to find everything wrong with that house, and that's just not realistic. So you can take the same house and you can have 10 different inspectors do an inspection, and you're going to get 10 different reports, and they're going to look so different because I look at things differently than maybe you look at things or you look at things. So the way that people look at things is going to affect the report too. So we try to stay up to date on our education, and you know, we watch a lot of, when I say we, me and my guys, we try to stay on top of other issues that could come up that maybe we didn't learn in school. You know, school is one thing, but real life is another. So when you get out in the field, and you know, I'd seen blistering in the books in school, but I had never seen it. And, you know, when I finally did, I'm like, oh, now it makes sense. So, you know, there are things that, you know, that could happen that we just don't know. And
yeah, and the thing about the blistering, and then it can also be hail damage that you can see too, is some of those effects don't come till later on. So you might get that blister, and it's just a simple blister, but then that'll dry out, the water gets to it, it dries out again, and all of a sudden in 5 years, it's actually a hole in the roof. So that's why it's like sometimes it's not that big a deal at that time, but it could be later on, and you're just giving that information to the homeowner so that they have that.
Absolutely.
It's super important. I know for us, it puts us in a bad spot a lot on a sale of a house, right? So a realtor calls us out there to look at it. And the thing about it is sometimes we're looking at this roof and we're saying, hey, this roof's going to have to be replaced. There's some issues with this. And the pressure comes in when the realtor's like, hey, you're going to screw up my deal. And I'm like, I'm here to serve this homeowner that's buying the house. I need to do what's right and what's honest for that homeowner. And so then now I don't work for that realtor anymore because my advice was what was honest.
Can I say something about this too? Mm-hmm. Putting a new roof on your house does not give you more value as a price point in your home. It's considered a maintenance issue. And so you can't mark it up. Let's say your roof costs 10 grand. You can't say your house is now worth 10 more grand. So if you have a seller who's like, I'm going to put on a new roof and now my home's going to be worth more, your home is worth more people wanting it now because it has a new roof, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's worth 20, 30 grand more.
Mm-hmm. It's probably easier to sell. You're going to get a cheaper rate on your insurance. There's a ton of benefits like that versus the guy that doesn't have it. It could be a deal breaker.
Absolutely, yeah.
But also with that, we find this is another thing that I see a lot is a homeowner will hurry up and replace it, or they'll replace it while the deal's going on so that it doesn't affect the new buyer. But then it really affects the new buyer a year or two down the road because the roof doesn't perform well because they went with the cheapest bid. So a lot of times they're like, we just need your bottom dollar, cheapest roof you can put on here. And I'm like, I'm not your guy for that. That's not what I'm here. I'm long-term. I want the new homeowner to have value when they move in here, and I'm going to support them for the value of that roof. So my warranty is going to go with it. And what a lot of homeowners don't know, there's a warranty that can transfer to the new homeowners. That's through the manufacturer. So another misconception on that, and you probably run into this too, Darrell, is it comes with a 50-year warranty. So they hand it to the homeowner and say, here's your 50-year warranty. That 50-year warranty is not for a leak or a misinstalled roof. That's for a defect. And it's very rare that you're actually going to get paid if there's a defect in that roof because they're going to go back to the roofer. Nobody knows who that roofer was. So you really want to have a good roofer that's going to support you through that claim if you do have a defect. People think 50 years, I'm covered, I'm good. You get a roof leak, the roofer comes out and says, hey, it's going to be $2,000 to fix it. They're not aware of that 50 years only from the manufacturer for a defect, which is really rare.
But not just any roofer. You're going to want a local roofer that's been around for a long time, not somebody that's coming in and leaving. There's no way to like keep up with that for the new homeowners.
Yeah, if I'm a new homeowner and I'm buying a house and it needs a roof, I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to take care of that.
Absolutely.
Because I'm going to get a valuable roof that's going to last me a long time. And then I'm going to have that connection to that roofer. The roofer doesn't care about the person that moved away. They don't care. They're gone. And so I always recommend don't have the roof replaced before you get there. I would take that on as a new homeowner so you can get what you want that's going to be good.
Well, and you can, as a buyer, say it needs a new roof. I'd like to take this much off the price.
And then put it on as a buyer. I would not let the seller put the roof on.
There you go. Now, Darrell, when we look at home inspections, when I have a buyer, and I always tell them to get an inspection, I find it so interesting how big the inspection report can be.
Yes.
And that can be really scary to people who are purchasing a home. I've seen inspection reports where literally this window is broken or there is a tile that's cracked. I mean, very simple little things. So when a buyer is looking at your inspection report, what are the main and major things they need to look at, and what are things they can just push aside that are normal maintenance?
So the software that I use, I did a lot of research when I first got into the business, because the software is what puts your face in front of the realtors, in front of homeowners, in front of everybody. So I did a lot of research on the software that I want to use. The one that we ended up with is Spectora, and it's hands down the best software that is out there. So I want to make sure that I keep it simple. I'm not a very patient man. I don't like to sit down and read a lot. So when I got my home inspection, when I bought my house, he didn't use software. He was an older gentleman. I didn't pick him. I knew nothing about the industry when I bought my house. And I got a book this thick, and it's in black and white, so the photos are just terrible. I mean, it was horrible. And I'll be honest with you, to this day, I've been in the house 7 years now. I have not read it.
Really?
Yeah, I kind of look at it like, if something's going wrong, I'll know about it. Like right now, I'm going through and rewiring the house. Well, having it rewired. I don't like electricity. But it's definitely something that we want to make sure that our clients can see and understand the reports. Now, the only thing you'll ever find in our reports are things that are wrong, and they're divided into recommendations, repairs, and safety issues. And you can go to the summary and just look right at those, and it'll tell you exactly, hey, this window is broken. It's a safety issue. It's not locking. Someone can get in, or this light switch doesn't work. We recommend you get with the homeowner and find out what that's supposed to go to. They may, it may be for a ceiling fan that was never put in. So you've got a switch there and a blank plate on the ceiling. So it's little things like that. Big thing is GFIs. We try to make sure that hopefully the client will be there, or at least the realtor, so that there's a GFI that you click in a bathroom and you go to find, try to find where it is, and you can't find it. We just had one. Josh was actually out on it. He called me. He said, man, I've been looking for this GFI for an hour. I said, oh, so you're finally getting to play a game of find the GFI. Me and Dustin have done it for years. So it was actually a newer build. So the homeowner called the builder. The builder told them, now get this, it's behind the mirror in the master bathroom. They put a mirror, and you couldn't remove the mirror. So the builder actually knew that it was there, knew that this problem would come up one day, and decided to do nothing about it. So now he has to come out, take that mirror off, make it 2 foot shorter so that the GFI is accessible. But you run into things like that, and as a homeowner, had you been in there, it would have cost you a couple $100 at least to have an electrician come out and try to find that. Mm-hmm. So We try to make life easier for our customers and our clients because ultimately they're going to be our friends. Lake County is a very unique community. I love Tavares, Eustis, Mount Dora. It's such a great place to live. And if I run into someone that I inspected at their house, inspected their house at Publix, I don't want them to be like, oh, that son of a, I want them to be like, hey, what's up? How you doing? I love my house. Coming over for barbecue? Absolutely.
Well, that's the thing about Lake County. Everybody recommends you. You can tell, like, there's people in Lake County, if you're good at what you do, you're hard to get a hold of, hard to get to come out. Good people in Lake County, they love this city. They love to please the people here. Like, it's a huge thing for us. Like, helping the people out here in Lake County is huge.
Absolutely. I love this small community. It truly is magical. I mean, I feel at home here, and I'm not a oh God, how do I've never considered myself like a pillar of the community, but I have found recently that like I go out into the community and people recognize me and they know me and they say hey. And I love that.
You are a big part of the community.
Well, I see that now.
Yeah.
And, I just never thought of it that way because I've always worked for, I was a nurse when I got out of the Army. Then I worked for the phone company and then retired from the phone company. So I've always worked for someone else. So when I started my own business, it took a while for me to get into the mindset that, I'm, really a building block of this community. And that was one of the goals when I started the company was I wanted to give back to the community. And, Cole and Casey, they have the Giving Back Foundation. I love that. I'm a part of that.
You're with a local school, a new school in town.
I was just getting ready to say that.
Yeah.
Create Conservatory. Yes. Nikki Duslack, she is amazing. She started a school in a church. The church, it was smaller. It wasn't their space. So she bought the old putt-putt behind Frogger's, the old putt-putt course. And we have, as a community, just transformed that thing into just a wonderful, wonderful place. The kids love it. Gabe, Gabe's my little one. He loves that school. He came home the first day. The grand opening was Monday. Mm-hmm. He came home and he's like, I love this school. And it's stuff like that really keeps me going. We donate a portion of our profits every month to them so that they, because they're a nonprofit. So everything that they get is through grants or donations. And it is a struggle for Nikki because we're personal friends, and I hear some of the stuff that she's going through and some of the troubles that she has. So, anytime that I can help personally, I try to. And we've got other businesses that have come along and just donated and helped. Lucas Air. I mean, there's a lot of people that have come together for that.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that were hands-on too, came there, helped clean up. Absolutely. I think people don't realize that there's a lot of businesses here in Lake County that are helping out, doing these things. I know we worked with Cole's program there. There's so many important people here in Lake County that are trying to make it better for people that are struggling. And it's really, really cool, the charities that are going on here. And it really is a group, like you said, Lucas Air, he's a part of that. But, like people like that, they don't even want the recognition. They just want to help out. He's not going around talking about it, so we got to do it for him, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I love Cameron to death.
Another veteran.
Yes, absolutely. He's a personal friend, and I give his name out whenever I can. I try to help other local businesses and just keep the word going and keep everybody in, I guess, my network. Mm-hmm. Keep them all busy, and it's
so interesting because when you start talking to somebody like you or Jason or whoever who's actually in the community and they're very involved and they're helping schools and they're helping other companies, one good company, if I need an air person, I just have to call you.
Exactly.
And then that air person knows the next good roofer. Like you're all connected in this really cool way.
Yeah.
That you can trust who they're sending you to.
And that's the thing. So when COVID hit, my network really took a hit. I mean, people gave up their businesses because they weren't getting the money that they needed, and they took other jobs, with corporate America. and I'm starting to build that network back up. And the prerequisite for me giving your name out is I have to know that you do a great job, because if I give you the name of an electrician and he's terrible, you're not going to want to talk to me much
Right.
after that. So I try to be very careful as to what whose name I give out. And
I love name dropping.
oh yeah, absolutely.
Jason's name.
Nice. Good to know.
My family owns Eustace Roofing. What can I help you with?
There you go.
I've got a question for you. Going back to the inspections, what is the number one problem you see in the most expensive fix that you see and the most common?
Most common would probably be electrical panels that are not covered by insurance that people don't understand. So when you're selling your house, you're thinking, oh, I'm getting ready to make $100,000. Woohoo! What you don't understand is with certain electrical panels, you're not going to be able to sell it because no one can get insurance unless it's a cash deal. Then those are few and far in between. But when you're planning on making X amount of dollars, and it comes up that you got to spend $2,000 on electrical panel, $10,000 on a roof or $15,000 on a roof, people, they get a little salty about that. So when I get out there and do the inspection, or my guys are out there and do the inspection, we try to keep everybody informed every step of the way, because ultimately I am a consumer just like everyone else. So for instance, if I'm going out and doing a FHA, VA, or USDA loan, those government-backed loans have very specific, tight criteria that there's no wiggle room on. So when I go out to a house and from the road I see wood rot, I'm like, oh God, USDA, VA, FHA, oh, we're gonna have an issue. We had one out in the Jacksonville area. The house was 125 years old. It physically had a lean to it. When you stood in front of the house and took your cover shot, you could see the house was leaning. Talking to the clients, we realized that they were just buying the property because it was 20 acres. They had a business that they wanted to expand. So the 20 acres was going to do good for them, but they were trying to do it through a VA loan. Well, the wood rot, it probably would have cost if they were going to fix the wood rot, it probably would have been $50,000 just in wood rot. The seller has to pay that. Well, these sellers were not coming off of paying anything. So at that point, I let the client know. I said, listen, you're paying me $600 roughly for this inspection. We can stop right now and it won't cost you the full $600 because this isn't going to move forward with your loan. So we try to help people in that way. And I know that they're going to come back to me after that, because I tell people, I don't want to spend your money. I'm a consumer just like you. Money is tight all over. I get it. So we try to help that way too.
Yeah, it'll be a return customer. We do it all the time. Like, we'll be on a roof and they got 3 years left on the roof, and we'll just tell them the truth. Like, hey, look, you've got 3 years left on this roof. We don't have to replace it right now. And then actually in 3 years, we've got them, we got their neighbor. We have all kinds of recurring work that comes from that just by being honest. I think people don't realize honesty does pay in the long run.
Absolutely. And if you're not honest, it's going to come back and bite you. And a lot of times hard.
Yeah, plus you're setting an example for the people that work for you between right and wrong and why they should work for you, and you're changing your culture at the same time.
Absolutely. And it's everybody's human. We make mistakes. The big difference between companies, a good company and a piss poor company, is how you handle that problem. If you just, hey, I'm not doing anything about it, it's buyer beware. Or if you talk to the customer, make them feel heard. Just the other day, Dustin went out to Daytona and did an inspection on a mobile home. He told the woman about a water leak in her shower and some wood rot on the shower floor, in the bathroom. So she was crying. She called me up crying. She said, listen, I had a plumber come out. He told me I've got black mold. He can't do the repair until the black mold is remediated. That's going to cost me about $5,000. I don't have that. I spent everything I had on this house. All this woman wanted was to be heard and understood. So, I've been there. I get frustrated when I'm trying to tell my story and nobody will listen. So I drove out there on a Saturday and I went under this woman's house and it was cold. So long story short, which I guess that ship's already sailed, there was just a leak in the shower from the drain pipe that it only leaked when you used the shower for extended periods of time. There was no black mold. And I think she called me, and I think she said that she ended up spending $250 to get that drain fixed. And she's like, you are coming out here, you are having dinner with me, I am treating you to dinner. You came out on a Saturday, you didn't charge me anything. And, it's an hour and a half drive, but it's those little things. She's going to tell her friends. She is really, and reviews. Those things are golden. So
yeah, second
stuff
opinion,
like that helps.
Second opinions are big on that because you never know. Maybe that plumber was related to the person who can fix a black mold or whatnot. So I always tell homeowners, get a second opinion because you never know. It could be something that's not really that big of a deal and it can be fixed pretty quickly. So
yeah, we always try to tell people, we're not licensed electricians, we're not licensed roofers, we're not licensed plumbers, but we're licensed home inspectors. We know what we're looking for. So I can tell you that your roof is bad, but I couldn't fix your roof. I would refer you out. Mm-hmm. Right, Jason?
Oh, yeah.
And Jason will come out and he'll take care of it.
Well, let me talk about that real quick. So let me talk about roofing and making the roof last longer. I'd like to, there's a new formula or there's a new product that we have for, like you were talking about earlier, if the roof doesn't have 5 years left on it, that the insurance is going to make you replace the roof. Mm-hmm. So about a year ago, we came out with a new product. It's called Ugly Roof, and we spray it on the roof. It's putting the oil back into the roof. It's a natural oil, and we can guarantee another 5 years on the roof. We can spray that up to 3 times, so we can get you another 15 years on your roof. But the key is, we do it in a partnership where we can get your 4.0 inspection done. We can get your roof sprayed. We back it up with engineering. We back it up with our license so that you can provide that to your insurance and you don't have to replace the roof. You can actually get that 5 year left in the roof. And the cool thing about it is it's a quarter of the price. It's a really cool product that we have. And here at the end of the day, we're roofers. We've been installing roofs for 60 years at Eustace Roofing. So anytime something comes to the market, we got to see it. We got to test it. We got to try it out. And this product just blew our minds. We come back 5 days later and the shingle is so much more pliable. So it's an option now that we have for homeowners. It's called Ugly Roof. We come out and spray it, quarter of the cost. Have you heard about this?
I haven't really done too much research into it because of insurance. Mm-hmm. So everything that you just said is wonderful. I love that. Again, I'm a consumer. A shingle that has a 30-year life expectancy that the insurance company is going to make you tear off with 10 years left on it, I think is BS. So when you come out with products like that, I love it. The problem is, will insurance embrace it, or will they continue on their track saying, no, listen, this roof, it's got a permit from 1990, it's 20 plus years old, you're done. Mm-hmm. So I haven't personally run into that yet, but I would be very interested to see it in action.
Well, yeah, so we managed to find a method that insurance does accept it. One of the unique things about it that people are forgetting, the shingles that they make today aren't like what they made in the past, right? So they're a lot thinner. They're not as good quality. So sometimes you're actually spraying a shingle that's thicker than the one that you can buy today. And so homeowners don't know that, but also it's another option. A lot of times, like for us, we're going to give you our real opinion. Like if the roof is really, really bad shape, it's going to be best to replace it. Right. But there are on so many occasions that we come across roofs that we put on 15 years ago that are perfectly fine. and they don't need to be replaced. Now, when you say, hey, you got another 5 years, then we spray it and say you got another 5 years. Back it up with an engineer and an insurance agent. You're good to go. You can save some money. You can move on. It's a quarter of the price. Super cool product. It's less like noise and people on your property. It's a day job, and we're in and out. And it actually brings some of the color back to the roof. It actually kills the algae, and you're back up and running with a quarter of the cost.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Do you have to pull a permit for that?
No, you don't. There's no permit needed.
That's awesome.
You know, it's interesting because you were talking about permits. You don't need a permit for that. But if you're selling your home, people are looking for your permits. So
Yes.
if you're not hiring somebody who's professional,
It's true.
they want to know when that was replaced. There's nothing to back it up. If your neighbor did it for you, that is not going to help.
Yeah, so permits, we run into that all the time with new homeowners or buying a house, and they put a new roof on, but they didn't pull a permit. Well, so the insurance is considering that roof 20 years old, even though it's a brand new roof, because the permit that was pulled. So what we do is we provide you with paperwork that shows that we had a 4-point inspection, we had an engineer sign off on it, we've got Eustace Roofing on it, we also have an agent on it, so that you have that paperwork for when you go to sell the house or when you renew your insurance. Wind mitigations are usually good for that too. So we've come up with a method that really works for Florida homeowners where they don't always have to replace the roof. I hate seeing people throw that into the landfills, cause all kinds of issues there, debris that doesn't need to go in our landfills that we can just spray your roof. And if you're into going green, this is a way to do that.
Oh, that's amazing. I would definitely be interested to see that. And so there is, from what I've been told by insurance, there is a law in place that if a licensed professional says you've got 5 years left on your roof, the insurance company has to honor that. Well, that is not the case. I've run into it multiple times. I had one woman that had a roof that literally, it was only probably 3 years old, but she had tree overhang. It looked filthy. There was moss on it. There were dead branches on it. Insurance company refused her because her roof wasn't clean, even though the permit was 3 years old on architectural shingle. So she should have had another 17 years. So I had to go back out there, and, you know, she asked me, hey, can you go back out and get better pictures? I'm like, all right. So literally I went out and cleaned off the roof, and, you know, I mean, it's little things like that, yeah, I mean, it does cost a little bit to me because, you know, gas and what have you, but I would much rather lose money than lose customers, because that, you know, the bottom line is if we don't have customers, we're not making a living. So
Yeah, I think so. We do a roof cleaning, and sometimes we do that for realtors because the roof is in great shape, but it just is dirty. And that goes back to the roofs aren't the same as they used to be, right? So they get dirtier quicker. There's mold, there's algae. So that's why you really want to have a good shingle manufacturer, because you're running into that. But also the roof spray that we put actually kills algae and makes that stuff go away, so it lasts longer. But you're right. The insurance is actually controlling this, and there is laws set in place where they can't do that. But
Right.
they make the rules, they make the laws. That's the problem. They're the ones fighting down on these laws, not real people that know what's going on. But yeah, that's really good advice. Like before you list your house, you might want to clean the roof.
absolutely. Yep.
It's just like a car. Are you going to list a car
Exactly.
for sale? So think about this, guys. If you're going to list a car for sale on Craigslist or on Facebook Marketplace, you're probably going to clean that car before you do it.
Oh my
And so
God.
the same thing goes for your roof.
Not only that, declutter.
Oh,
If
yeah.
it's- let's talk
So
about
that's what our
inside.
realtors are for,
Yes.
to tell these homeowners, hey,
Please.
clean your roof, clean up around the outside, get some curb appeal going on,
Makes a
declutter.
big difference.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
does.
When you go to a
We've been
dealership,
in-
they clean the car before you get it. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We've done inspections where literally there were boxes piled in these rooms. You cannot do an inspection when it's full. So our pre-inspection agreement says, listen, we've got to have access to all these areas to do the inspection. If not, we could miss something. Well, guess what? The gentleman added part of he added on to a mobile home, and the flashing, he didn't put the flashing in correctly. So for years, it's just leaking down this wall. Lo and behold, the guy goes to put new floors in and paint. That wall just literally moved. Well, I couldn't touch the wall when I was there. So it was a big mess. And, you just never know what you're going to run into.
I can't tell you how many times that we've heard that story. The homeowner does the work on the roof, and I'm going to tell you what, that's going to cost you way more money than hiring a professional, because there's two things that go in that. There's two ingredients to that. Number one, you're not going to know flashing and details like a roofer does. I'm sorry, but that is something that a roofer is an expert at. But then the next thing is it's dangerous. I can't tell you how many times, like for gutters, hey, it's $500 to put these gutter screens on. The homeowner says I can do it for $200, and next thing you know, he's in the hospital with a $500,000 bill. So I think that's one of the reasons that you need to call a professional on something to do with your roof, because it will cost you way more money in the long run, just like you talked about.
Absolutely.
One day you're going to sell your house. I mean, somebody's going to have to sell your house for you. I just had a lady who redid her whole plumbing with a friend that worked at a plumbing company. So he knew exactly what he's doing, but he didn't pull any permits. And guess what? The person coming in to purchase the home now wants some money back because she has to replace all of this because there's nobody to see. Even the inspectors, well, it looks like he replaced 10% of it. I don't know. I can't get under the foundation.
Right.
I have no idea what's under there. And there's no permit.
Exactly. Permits are so important, and people don't understand that. But if you do this work and you don't have a permit, we as home inspectors, our hands are kind of tied sometimes because they want ages of plumbing. They want ages of those electrical panels. Sometimes we have permits. Sometimes all we have is the homeowner's word. So we'll put that and let them know, hey, if there's any questions, insurance is going to ask you, so you may have to provide something to get this insurance in place, because they may not just take your word that, oh yeah, I did the plumbing, in 2010.
That's exactly what just happened. Well,
Exactly.
insurance wanted to know how updated is the plumbing because the house was built in the 60s.
Right.
I replaced it. Well, where's the permit? I don't have one. Well, we can't.
Well, another thing that permits are important for is if you replumb the house with PEX before 2002, they won't insure it. So the PEX after 2002, and I'm talking about this from personal experience because my house was replumbed. Luckily, the PEX was after 2002, so insurance covered it. But PEX before 2002, they won't cover.
What is PEX?
It's a type of plumbing. So you've heard of polybutylene
Yeah,
plumbing.
yeah.
So polybutylene, all of that has to be replaced regardless. Nobody will insure that. Well, I say nobody. There are insurance companies out there that will insure it, but they will give a rider that says no water damage is going to be covered. Water damage is the number one claim in Florida. So they're kind of winning there because they're going to collect money, and you're never going to file a claim, and they're just going to collect your money for years. But the PEX plumbing, it's just another type of pipe that technology changes as we go forward. It gets better, and the PEX plumbing was one of them. Polybutylene, they found that it reacts with certain minerals in the water, and it can just bust at any time. So it's just, insurance companies want to limit their liability when it comes to everything. So that's why we're having such a hard time in Florida right now with insurance.
So you can't blame all the roofers for your insurance rates going up. There's a whole lot more variables there that are making your rates go up.
There are a ton more variables.
And
But there are those roofers out there that are unscrupulous that get on the roof and they go into these neighborhoods with thousands of homes and say, oh yeah, we can get you a free roof.
I can tell you how to spot those guys. Those are the guys coming through your neighborhood, knocking on your door, telling you can get something for free.
Door to door is a bad idea.
Listen, good roofers that know what they're doing, they're marketing to you, you're calling them, they're coming out, they're offering their service. They are not beating your neighborhood doors down, trying to offer you something for free. That's the difference. And that's the first sign right there that you got something going on that's not right. Anybody can sell something for free, right? Absolutely. That's the key. So for us, we want to do what's right. What's right for the insurance? What's right for you, the homeowner? What is the honest thing that you need to know? Here's another thing we see with that. If you got people out there banging on doors, selling something that's free or causing damage sometimes, they're probably not the most honest people in the industry, and their culture's not going to be honest, and you're not going to get a good roof. So I always recommend call and look up the reviews, research who you're going to have come out there, and then you call your roofer and get an honest review. But don't just put up with these guys banging through your neighborhood on doors, selling you something for free. It's the first sign that something's not right.
Well, you're either going to pay now or you're going to pay later.
Yeah.
You're going to pay
Absolutely.
either way.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes.
What are some things, so you see houses of all ages. What are some things you see in older homes that you wish you saw in the newer homes?
So the craftsmanship is definitely gone. Some of these older homes, 100 years plus, they just have such great craftsmanship in them. The woodwork, the wood floors. I mean, it's phenomenal in some of these homes. But you get some of these homes that are old, that have been in the family for forever, and mom and dad, they've gotten older. It's a bigger home. They don't take care of it like they should. So then you start getting wood rot. You start getting termites. You start getting electrical that has been spliced together. So you still have live knob and tube wiring in this house, which is very dangerous. Nobody will insure that. And you get, you get plumbing that's galvanized, which, that's detrimental to your health. Drinking that water coming through that pipe, you're ingesting all kinds of things, all kinds of heavy metals. So there are pros and cons to old houses. We've had clients that if the house wasn't over 100 years old, they didn't want to look at it. And I'd be going up to them every 10 minutes or so. Okay, I need you to come look at this electrical. I need you to come look at this plumbing. I need you to come look at this. And they're like, oh my God, I knew there were going to be issues, but we get roofs that are tin roofs that are 100 years old that are still in amazingly great shape. We found one, a commercial business right down here in Tavares, that luckily it was raining the day that we did the inspection, and we saw a nail, just drops coming off the nail. So that was the only spot where there was an issue. They were able to go out and get that sealed, and that tin roof that was over 100 years old is still on that roof and insured. So I could not believe that insurance would insure a roof that old, but it looks great. I love those old tin roofs. They look wonderful.
Yeah, that's what we're running into as in metal on roofs is something that is so popular right now. And that's also an issue because a lot of roofers don't know how to put metal on. It's a very crafted skill to put the metal roof on versus shingles. And so for us, that industry has grown huge in our business, and we've invested heavily in that. We have CNC machines. We have our own roll formers that make the panels on site. And that is a way to combat your insurance. You can get cheaper rates. You can get a really good underlayment, a peel and stick, high temp, and that's also going to help on your rates on your insurance. But the metal roofs, you can't go wrong, especially if you go with standing seam where you don't have exposed fasteners. You heard what he just said there. The fastener was leaking. So you can actually take the fastener out of the equation and put a standing seam roof on where they're all hidden fasteners, so you don't even have to worry about that in the future. But if it's not in your budget, you can put a roof on that has exposed fasteners, but then it becomes on the quality of the grade of the fastener. So a lot of roofers don't really care about that because you don't know about that as a homeowner. So they just put a cheap fastener on. And I'm going to tell you something. One of the most expensive things on a metal roof with fasteners is the fasteners.
Yes.
So you think it's the metal, but it's actually the fasteners. And so for us, you want to put a really, really high grade fastener on there. It's going to last a long time because you will have to refasten that roof in the future, and you're going to go with a bigger diameter fastener. So standing seam, hidden screws, to me is a game changer as far as roofing, and that'll probably be the last roof that you put on as a homeowner.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, those metal roofs, they are phenomenal, but like you said, the fasteners, that's usually where we find issues. We did a house in Leesburg out by the airport for he's a celebrity, and he's buying this big house, and we got out there, and the roof looked great. Look, it was probably, I think they said 10 years old, and some of the fasteners were backing out. Mm-hmm. And he asked me, well, how do I fix that? Can I just, tighten the fastener? I said, you can, but that's not going to fix your problem. It backed out for a reason. You're probably going to want to call Eustace Roofing and have them come out, literally, and have them come out and look at these fasteners and tell you what you want to do, because it was a massive house. And this guy, he's used to, finer things. So it was eye-opening to me that this high-end house had these fasteners that are, they're not that old, and they're backing out already.
Yeah, so a couple things on that real quick too is also we see a big difference in the industry, or homeowners not knowing this, is a lot of roofers will come in with a cheaper price when it comes to metal, and they'll actually install the metal over the shingles. And so if you're buying a house, you're going to want to know that, because I can tell you that's one of the number one things that we see with massive wood rot on the bottom. And then we also see the panels fly off in a storm, because as they go through the shingle and then they enter the wood, there builds up condensation underneath, and it travels through that screw to the wood, rots out the wood, and then the screw comes loose, and then you got problems from there. So shingles aren't really meant for something to go over it here in the state of Florida, because they're going to sweat. And then it also depends on the underlayment too. That's a big part of being successful in metal. I can tell you one of the number one things we see from homeowners that had a bad roof installed, it's metal roofs. We are redoing metal roofs all the time. So when you see a price difference in metal roofs, you got to really know who you're going with. And one of the things I always say, obviously because it's in my wheelhouse, do they have the equipment to make their own metal roofs? Do they have the CNC machines to do that? And the reason I say that is, are they making an investment into what they do? Is this long-term? You can tell if a roofing company is long-term because they're making those investments. But not only that, you're giving your employees tools that they can really put artwork into the roof and make them feel significant in your roof install. So I always think that when it comes to metal, I can't tell you the price difference between us and other people, but it is a long-term investment. It's going to be way cheaper with us in the long term than you usually see with another roofer, because metal is a very significant an expense, but you want to go with somebody who knows what they're doing. And that's why on our metal crews, it's very hard to build crews. It's very slow, because you want good people installing it, because the people are investing in a lifelong product for them.
Yeah, I like the way you put that. So in my mind, what I'm hearing is the craftsmanship when you guys put on a roof. And that's really a wonderful thing when it comes to the industries. If you're a roofer, you want someone that's great at it. So when you make it seem like it's a craft to you, an art, I mean, it really, that will translate to your customers. And I had no idea that you guys manufactured your own things. People don't know that. So that is something, and like you said, you've got some roofing companies that are new, and, some of them, we've seen fly-by-night roofing companies that come through after a hurricane and give you those cheap roofs. Well, yeah, you're exactly right. They're a cheap roof. But you guys have been around for 60 years. And, I give your name out because I do trust you. I look at your reviews. I look at, I talk to people, and, Eustace Roofing did mine versus, some other company. And, I've heard horror stories from other companies, and it just, again, it goes to a network that you can trust. And longevity is, I'm still a new kid on the block, but we're trying.
Well, who's going to be there after the roof installed, right? So
exactly.
What we find in the roofing industry is everybody's concerned about, the number one thing they're concerned about is the sale, not the install. They're concerned about the sale and the collection and whether it's free.
Right.
So those are the three things for us at Eustace. We're concerned about the install. That's what we group everything around, is the install. That's where we put our resources. And, it is a skill. And we take guys that are craftsmen at woodworking and stuff like that, and we bring them into the metal trade, because that's exactly what it is. It's a skill. It takes a special individual. You cannot just slap a metal roof on. And the reason we have the machines is we make it more customable. Right. A special size drip edge is going to fit better on this house. That's what we're going to do. Or it's going to design a special flashing. We're going to do that. The same thing goes with shingle roofs. We'll be on a shingle roof and we need to reflash the chimney. Well, we're going to use a color that matches. We're going to bend it the right height because we have the machine that does it. It's all like you just draw it with your finger.
It's custom.
Yeah, it's custom, but you're bringing the employees in on it too, and they feel like, well, I don't want to work for anybody else. They don't have this equipment. This makes me feel like I am at a good, structured company that has a great culture.
Pride in work.
Pride, yeah.
Yeah,
pride
yeah, absolutely.
I'm a realtor in Central Florida, and I have a deal right now where I am representing the seller. The seller had their roof done by Eustace Roofing. The buyer comes in and they have the inspection. They can't find the permit. The realtor calls me for the buyer's agent and says, we can't find the permit for the roof. No problem. My family owns Eustace Roofing. Let me give them a call. They have it on file. Apparently the cities sometimes take a while to get it into their system, so they're not always easily to pull up. Right. But you have a company that keeps track of everything, takes pride in what they're doing. They have the permit on file. I said to the buyer's agent, that's my family, I'll call them. And she said, I'm sorry, your family is Eustace Roofing? Yes. Whatever you say goes. I completely trust you. I love Eustace Roofing. I always recommend them.
Yeah.
That's the kind of people that you want to hear from your buyers or your sellers or whoever you're working with that take pride in everything that they do.
Yeah,
the community sees
And
this.
doesn't that give you a sense of pride?
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
I drop the Reisman
Yeah.
name everywhere I go.
There you go.
You know, the key to that is we built a CRM system about 12 years ago. And what that is, it's a software so that we can track all this stuff. So if we put your roof on 12 years ago, we got documentation of it. We got pictures of it. We got all of those things that you're going to need. So say the city loses it, we can actually prove it with the pictures. We have everything that we did on that job site in our computer system accessible. We did that a long time ago. And that's what makes Eustace Roofing special. We've been doing this for a long time. We've set up those procedures years and years and years ago to protect you, the homeowner. So all you got to do is call us. We'll actually look up the permit for you.
Yeah.
And then if they can't find it, well, guess what? We got a copy of it,
That's
and we have the
exactly right.
pictures to prove it.
That's exactly what I got from Mom. She sent it right over for me, sent it to the buyer's agent, and happy as can be.
Yeah, it's really
Perfect.
neat.
All right, Darrell. So I've known you for a little bit now. I met you
Yes.
in networking things that we go to.
Yes.
We're obviously in the same industry, and you're always wearing the cowboy hat.
Well, I tell you, when I started the company, before that, I worked for the telephone company. And when I moved back to Florida after being in Indiana for 15 years, well, the sun in Florida is some of the sunniest sun around. It will burn you to a crisp. Well, that's what it was doing to me. It was taking the tops off my ears. So I went to my doctor and he said, look, man, start wearing sunscreen. I said, I do. He goes, lose the baseball cap, wear a wide brimmed hat. So, I had the cowboy hat, so I started wearing that to work. And then people in the phone company started knowing me as the cowboy. So, which is ironic because I'm scared of cows. No, I'm just joking. I'm not scared of them.
What about you got a belt buckle to back it up?
Yes, he does.
With the boots.
Full-blown cowboy here in Lake County.
Yeah, and it just it went from there when I started the company.
Do you show up on a horse?
I feel like that's your
Not-
next thing.
Actually, no, I am building something special though that is going to make me stand apart even
Like a
more.
horse car?
What's that?
Is it like a horse car? Or what do we got going
Like a
here?
whip
No,
up.
it's an old Chevy pickup truck. But you know what? Maybe I'll get a horse trailer and start
There
towing
you
that around
go.
with me with my horse so I can take
You
it out.
can you can probably write that off.
There you go. That would be pretty cool. Yeah. But it just kind of morphed into this. Everybody already knew me from the hat, and I love it because if I don't want to be recognized, you know what? I just pop that down and I can walk around town and nobody would know who I am.
I feel like we're talking to a totally different person.
That's right.
There you
Hey,
go.
it's Darrell. Look,
Yeah.
he's back.
Darrell's
Holy
back.
smoke.
Well, now you're known for this cowboy hat.
Exactly. Yeah, and I told my son, because obviously he's going to take over when I'm gone. I told him, I said, listen,
When
gonna
you're out
have
to
wear a
pasture,
cowboy
he's
hat.
gonna take
He's
over?
like, no, that's
He's
your
not gonna wear
that's
the
your
cowboy
legacy.
hat.
And I tried to, when he started with me, I said, listen, Dustin, you're gonna have to wear a cowboy hat. He goes, nope, 2 of them won't fit in the truck. And I love it because obviously my son works with me, but it is something that we can joke about and laugh about, and people do recognize a hat a lot.
Do they trust you more?
I do.
I feel like they do. Honestly, I feel like
trust
they
them
do.
more.
I've still got realtors from like 5 years ago that I did an inspection in Jacksonville that still call me and say, hey, are you still doing this? I'm like, yeah. And it's kind of a double-edged sword because when I started, it was just me. So people kind of, they're used to me.
Mm-hmm.
So when they call to get an inspection and I don't show up, Josh shows up or Dustin shows up, they're like, oh, wait a minute. It's kind of a double-edged sword. But I try to, like with Josh, when I leave here, I'm going to go out to an inspection with him. And Dustin, I may be able to stop by his inspection. I don't know. But people will request me specifically. And I'm like, oh, man. man. I can't do the podcast today.
Gotta show up my cowboy.
It's branding.
I know, right?
Yeah,
My boots. It
That's
is good.
it.
It is pretty good branding.
It
Maybe you
is.
can get the name tags with like a hat on the top, so
There
at least
you
they
go.
feel like
We're always looking for different things. You know, I've got stickers around town that when I stop and get gas, I'll put a sticker on the gas pump, and I tell people if they, if they take a picture of the sticker, post it and tag me, I'll give them a free coffee or something. You know, little things like that. I mean, it's I love the marketing aspect of this because man, this just nobody forgets this thing,
Yeah.
and it has worked out well for me.
do you like yeehaw if it's a good
Yeehaw!
inspection?
You know it. I'm trying to find one for the boat, but you know.
A hat for the boat?
Yeah,
Just
Ooh,
like a
I love
strap.
this.
There you go. That's it. I feel like that looks a little weird.
cheesy.
So,
It's like headphones with a hat.
That's
Can't do
it, right?
For coming on
Thank
today.
you for
cool.
having me.
Well, thank
and
you
happy
for-
birthday.
Thank you.
Great.
20.
It's really good for us to grow this network of great people that we have. So we want to bring the great people on this podcast so that if you're a homeowner and you're out there looking for somebody or a trade, if you see them on this podcast, they're probably going to be somebody that you're going to want to work on your home.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.